everyone, I am Sneha, co-founder and CEO DevCompass. As always, I am super thrilled to have you guys here and recording another video for this particular stage. We have officially reached video 4 of stage 3 of our course. Amazing, good progress. So everyone still listening to me and still following along, please give yourself a pat on the back, because this has definitely not been easy, but I hope I at least make it fun. Today's video is going to be about prompt chaining versus dynamic decomposition. For everyone else who's wondering what this video is about, please go and get some more context on our website devcompass.ai and you will have it all clear. In the previous videos, we have been talking a lot about the multi-agent architecture, coordinators, spawn agents, how the coordinator works, what is the mechanism. And as of now, you've got the coordinator pattern, you know how to spawn sub-agents. Now, a question that every multi-agent developer faces is, how does the coordinator decide what tasks to create? There are two answers to that question, and they lead to architecturally different systems. The first one that I've mentioned in the previous video as well is the coordinator knows all the tasks up front. It chains them together in a predetermined sequence, which I hope is clear which one of prompt chaining versus dynamic decomposition it is. And the second one is that the coordinator figures out the task as it goes. It decomposes the problem dynamically based on what it discovers. Each approach is right for different problems. Getting this choice wrong is a common source of over-engineering or under-engineering. So let's get started. 1 second. Okay, so left card is all about prompt chaining. The coordinator knows all the steps before it starts. Step 1 is verify customers. Step 2, look up their recent orders. Step 3, check the return policy for the relevant product category. Step 4, synthesize a response. These steps are fixed. They always happen in this order, and the output of each step feeds into the next. There is no decision point about whether to do step 3. It is always going to happen. So prompt chaining is right when the workflow is predictable, when you know the shape of the problem before you see the specific input, when the same sequence of steps applies to every instance of this type of request. It's simpler to build, simpler to debug, and simpler to reason about. The coordinator's job is essentially a pipeline manager. Run step 1, take its output, run step 2 with that output, and so on. Now, if you look at the right card, dynamic decomposition, the coordinator receives the request and then figures out what tasks are needed based on the content of the request itself. A simple query, what is my order status, might need only one sub-agent. A complex multi-issue query is, I have 3 orders, 2 of them needs returns and 1 needs an address change, and I also have a billing question, might need 5 sub-agents. The coordinator decides after reading the request how many tasks to create, what each one should contain, and in what order should run them. So, dynamic decomposition is right when the shape of the problem is variable, when different inputs require fundamentally different amounts and types of work, when you can't write a fixed pipeline because the number of steps isn't constant. It's more powerful than prompt chaining, but also more complex, because the coordinator's decomposition decisions need to be reliable, and a badly decomposed task is harder to debug than a pipeline setup that ran in the wrong order. Let me make this concrete with a decision example. Look at the flowchart on screen. The question at the top, the request shape varies significantly between instances, which Does the request shape vary significantly between instances? Yes, the request shape varies. Think of a general customer support inbox. One message might be a simple order status question. Another might be a complex multi-issue request with several different problems. Another might require looking up account history and cross-referencing it with a billing dispute. The number of steps and types of sub-agents needed are genuinely different for different messages. That points towards dynamic decomposition. If the answer to request shape is consistent is no, think of a nightly data processing job. Every night, pull the day's transaction, validate them, categorize them, write a summary report, same step, same order, same structure every time. That's prompt chaining. Now the second branch for yes is the coordinator's decomposition logic testable and reliable. This is the harder question. Dynamic decomposition puts a lot of responsibility on the coordinator. It must read the request, understand its complexity, and create the right tasks. If the coordinator miscounts the issues in a multi-issue query, if it misses one, the missed issue never gets worked upon. Testing a coordinator that decomposes dynamically is harder than testing a fixed pipeline. If you cannot test the decomposition reliably, chaining is safer even if it is less flexible. Now, let me show you what dynamic decomposition actually looks like in a coordinator's reasoning and why the output format for that reasoning matter. So the left card is a multi-issue customer query. The customer says I have 3 problems. Order 1042 arrived damaged. I want a refund. Order 1089 hasn't arrived and it's been 2 weeks. And I think I was charged twice for order 1093. 3 very distinct issues. Each requires different information and potentially different resolution paths. The right card, the coordinator's decomposition output. Before spawning any sub-agents, the coordinator produces a structured decomposition. A list of issues with the type of each issue, the relevant order ID, what needs to happen. So for issue 1, damaged item, order 1042 needs refund. Issue 2, missing shipment, order 1089 needs tracking lookup. Issue 3, billing dispute, order 1093 needs payment records. The coordinator creates one sub-agent task per issue. Each sub-agent receives only its own issue, not the full list. Each runs in parallel, each returns a structured result. The coordinator synthesizes all 3 results into a single coherent response. Now look at what would have happened without this structured decomposition step. The coordinator receives the message, feels the urgency, and immediately spawns a single sub-agent with all 3 issues in the task. The sub-agent tries to handle all 3 in one context. Maybe it handles 2 well and skips the third because the task felt too large. Maybe it mixes up the order IDs. The structured decomposition step before any sub-agent is spawned is what makes dynamic decomposition reliable. So here one more failure mode specific to dynamic decomposition that you need to watch for is the refinement trap. And here's how it happens. The coordinator receives a complex query and decomposes into 5 sub-agent tasks. 4 come back with clean results. The 5th, let's say the billing sub-agent, returns an ambiguous result. Now what will you do here? The payment records are there but they are inconsistent. The coordinator decides it needs more information. So it spawns another sub-agent to dig deeper into the problem. That sub-agent returns something that raises another question. Another sub-agent is spawned and so on. So there is a refinement loop. It's a valid pattern when you design for it. When the coordinator has an explicit exit condition, stop refining after 2 passes, or stop when the confidence is above threshold, or stop when a human review has been requested. But without an explicit exit condition, the coordinator can refine indefinitely, and that is why you see that tornado like symbol, especially on genuinely ambiguous data. The conversation grows, the context fails, the coordinator becomes less reliable as it gets deeper into the refinement chain. What is the fix? When you design a coordinator that uses dynamic decomposition explicitly, define the refinement policy in the coordinator's system prompt. How many refinement passes are allowed? What's the exit condition if a satisfactory result isn't reached? What should be the coordinator return to the user when it hits the refinement limit? Answer those questions in the prompt before you ship. Otherwise, you're hoping the coordinator's judgment about when to stop is good enough. And by now, you know what we say about hoping Claude's judgments handles business rules. You are gonna lose money, my dear friend. So this video was all about prompt chaining, fixed step, same sequence every time, simpler and predictable. And the other one was dynamic decomposition. Coordinator decides tasks after reading input, flexible but complex. Always define the refinement exit condition. Don't let coordinators refine indefinitely, because it's an endless loop. So now you can design a multi-agent system and choose the right decomposition strategy for it. The next video is about what happens when something goes wrong inside that system. Specifically, the 2 failure patterns that are unique to multi-agent pipelines and the specific ways each one manifests. Silent failure versus cascade failure. So I will see you in the next one.